All right, welcome back, Brick Maniacs, to World War Brick 2024. I'm George Hicks, and I'm here with Robert Rodriguez, who's going to tell us a little bit about his Roman fort that he brought with us. So, to start, where'd you get the inspiration for this, Robert?
Well, I definitely got the inspiration from Dan and the Brigmania group when I saw their Roman fortress from last year. What I wanted to do was do something a little bit in smaller scale and different building techniques. But the one thing that I did more or less copy from the Brigmania version were the archways for the main gates and the side gate, or the main gate and the side gates. Outside of that, everything else is my design, and as far as the structures, they look similar because Roman architecture is the same all the way around, and so it's hard to deviate from everybody else's look and everything like that.
I like the detail along the edges here and even on some of the buildings on the inside of the lion's head. Is that an official Lego part?
Yes, the lion's head, it comes in various sets, like the city set. There's a city set that's a fire station or something like that, or a fire where the building is on fire, and these lion's heads were on top, like decorations on top. And so what I did was I wanted the fortress to look like it was something of flair by the Roman commander for the base and stuff like that, because normally the walls wouldn't have lion's heads or
That
something
much
like that on the
architecture?
side. Yeah.
Nah.
But I also wanted to have texture with the bricks and stuff like that. So
Give us a little tour here of all the different buildings, what they're for, who
Okay.
lives in what, if you don't
okay,
mind.
no worries. We'll start with the main gate. The main gate is obviously where everyone enters, and the first thing they see is the Principia, which is the headquarters building at the far end in the center. But we'll do a tour of the front buildings. Unfortunately, because of reach and all that kind of stuff, I can't reach to the back to show more detail, but we'll start with the front. These two buildings here are the barracks where the centurion, who's the commander of the soldiers, and the soldiers themselves sleep.
Oh.
So we'll take off one of the roofs over here. One of the roofs is, you'll see the commander's or the centurion's sleeping quarters. It's got his bed, his desk, his sword, and his shield, and that's pretty much everything there. And then, being very Spartan-like, here's the barracks, so they're pretty much crammed in there. You have your beds and all that kind of stuff, and their shields and swords and such. This building and this building are basically the same. They're carbon copies of each other. In a real Roman fortress, they would have numerous buildings, and then they were also longer. They'll have more soldiers, up to 80 to 100 soldiers in those barracks.
Say, it looks like you managed to pack quite a bit of detail in a small space.
I
really
try
love-
to, yes, yeah. I try to keep it detailed and small and such,
Yeah.
because one was the expense of building something this big. I just wanted to kind of keep it cost effective, and then working our way over here, the granary, which I call the Roman refrigerator, is where they keep their foodstuffs.
Oh, wow.
Like their vegetables and dry goods and all that kind of stuff, and their meats and all that kind of stuff will be in there as well. And it's cool temperature wise. The building sits high because air goes under it to keep it
kinda
cool.
Keep the heat out.
Yes.
That's a lot of great detail you got packed in there.
Oh, thank you. And then this building here houses like the workshops. And for example, like the workshop here is the blacksmith shop, and this might come apart in all kinds of pieces. But you can see the fire stove where they do the blacksmithing work, the anvil and his hammer, work tables back over there, and such. And then the middle one, this whole building comes out, so we'll take this whole building out. And I had to build it this way so because of the plates, the base plates. And in there you can see the armorer's workshop, so they work on the helmets and repair the helmets and their armor, the body armor and stuff. One thing that was interesting that I read about was that the Roman army reused all their stuff over years and years and years, where maybe a soldier in the U.S. Army will keep their uniforms. Those uniforms would have been recycled to other soldiers in the future. and that's what the Roman army did, to keep everything cost effective for the Roman army. So we'll go along there. And then one of my favorite little Easter eggs is the infirmary. And you might recognize two of the figures in there as the doctor and the nurse, as Hawkeye Pierce and Hot Lips Houlihan are the doctor and nurse for the infirmary.
That is a great Easter egg. So how easy is this to transport to get to a shelf?
It's very easy to transport. It comes apart in sections. Each section is 10 inches by 20 inches. It just comes apart like that.
Oh, that's pretty easy then. Transports well?
Transports well. It just has to be a bigger, you know, it just, fortunately I have a big truck that I can transport at. So, and then back over here, starting back over here is the Roman commander's residence. And the way I wanted to do it was a little bit over the top because the commander likes all of his decorations and wants to impress the crowd. And so we have a line and then statues, and then his apartment, for lack of a better term, is the upstairs, and the downstairs is like the greeting area and meeting area and stuff like that. The Principia is the headquarters, which is the center building. And when I originally built this, it wasn't as big. So I had to incorporate a lot of stuff in the small space. So the kitchen is where the smokestack is, and on the far side is where the lavatory is, where they did their business, of course. And then the headquarters is the remaining part of the building. And then the last building is the bathhouse. And that was actually the last building I made. And when I made that, it was like last week or like Wednesday.
So you were building right up till
So I was building right at the end. Yes. And so anyway, coming back this way, you can see how it comes off here. You can see the bathhouse in there.
Oh wow, that's a big pool.
So that's how that came apart. All the buildings are modular, so all the roofs come off. If there's a second floor, like in the residence in the Principia, the top floor comes off, so you can see on the bottom. Everything is tiled off, ready for furniture and all that kind of good stuff.
I really enjoy the technique you did for the cobblestone road here.
Yes,
Also, you were showing me the other day, there's something hidden over here in the courtyard in the grass. You want to talk about that a little bit?
This fortress is from Legion 173. Legion 173 doesn't exist. However, the 173rd Airborne Brigade, Vietnam, it did exist, and this was a tribute to my dad.
Ah, that's awesome.
So if you see the Easter egg, if you bring the camera over here, you may make out why it's 173. If you see 173 on the camera or on the grass, that's where I made that Easter egg.
That's a great addition. I really enjoy that.
And then along the walls, I wanted to have ballista emplacements. Long-standing fortresses did have ballista emplacements for Roman fortresses, but not a lot of them did.
Yeah.
They usually had them on the ground, but I wanted them on the wall. Again, it's more of an artistic embellishment, if you want to say it that way. Like with the lions, they didn't really have lines on their walls, but hey, it looked cool.
Hey, that's the beautiful thing about Lego. Right. We can do what we want to do.
That's correct. And then one thing I really like is the Brickmania Roman figures and such, and so that's what I wanted to do with that.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you talking with us, Robert, and hopefully you get a lot of great compliments today.
I hope
really
so.
Enjoy it.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.